Dr. Jaya Chitranshi, Associate Professor at Symbiosis Institute of Management Studies, Pune. Today, we will be talking about performance management and overview. So, the first question that arises is, what is performance management? Performance management is a dynamic process which is continuous in nature, and this process improves organizational effectiveness vis-a-vis the strategic goals. Performance appraisal is very much a part of this wider process of performance management. Performance appraisal is a periodic, generally annual review of one's performance, which is formal in nature, and this is the last step in the process of performance management. Now the question arises, who is involved in the process of performance management? So there are three collaborators: the organization, the supervisor, and the employees. So all three of them will have a role to play in the process of performance management. So the organization is actually responsible for giving the right information to supervisors and to employees. And the organization is also responsible for coming up a process in which documentation of this performance evaluation takes place. The supervisor is directly responsible for the documentation and also for motivating employees to perform at their best. The employee himself is also responsible for getting feedback, seeking feedback for his performance so that he can improve his performance, and this will help him grow in his career, and this will also help him in getting increased compensation. Now, we will be talking about the goals of performance management. So, this process of performance management is actually based on identification of certain goals and the employee is expected to keep in mind those goals and work on those goals. So these goals should be decided by the supervisor and the employee. So a perfect communication taking place between the supervisor and the employee is extremely essential when the goals are being set. Then the employee should also seek feedback on performance, and the supervisor should also give feedback to the junior. So it is a shared responsibility between the employee and his supervisor to get or receive the feedback. Then this process has to be documented. So this has to be done, and this is again one of the goals of performance management process. Then these goals should be development oriented. So the goals which are set for performance of the employee should also lead him towards growth in his career and in terms of the skills that he acquires. There should also be perfect alignment of these goals with strategic planning goals. So the individual employee performance goals should be aligned with the overall goals of the organization. Now we will be talking about HR's role in performance management. So HR is responsible for participating in the strategic planning process. It is responsible for conducting the process of job analysis. It is responsible for supporting performance management in the organization. It is responsible for designing an appraisal system for the organization, for training and supporting managers, for maintaining documents. It is responsible for providing employees the due process of performance management, for ensuring integrity of the system, and for ensuring compliance with non-discrimination laws. Now we will be talking about the performance management process. This process has 6 steps: prerequisites, performance planning, performance execution, performance assessment, performance review, and performance renewal and recontracting. So for the process of performance management, the first step is about some prerequisites which have to be there. So the first prerequisite is conducting the process of strategic planning, and the second one is job analysis. So strategic planning and job analysis. In strategic planning, the strategic goals of the organization are identified and a process is established. In job analysis, a technique will be conducted, and based on this technique, job description, job specification, etc. will be written down, and job evaluation will be conducted. The second step of the process of performance management is performance planning. So when we talk about performance planning, employees must have thorough knowledge of the performance management system, and this information should be made available to them and should be communicated to them. There should be meetings between employees and the managers. The goals which are set should be SMART goals, and measurement standards of these goals should also be fixed. So a focus should be on results, behavior and developmental plans of employees while fixing off these goals. We say that these performance objectives should be SMART. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant and time bound. The next step of the process of performance management is performance execution. This step of the process of performance management is a shared responsibility of the employee and the manager. The employee is responsible for his commitment towards the goals which are established and for communication about these goals and having and seeking an update from the manager. The manager is responsible for giving feedback, giving coaching and providing reinforcement to the employee. Besides, he is also responsible for providing the support of resources to the employee, and the manager is also responsible for providing accurate observation and documentation of this process. Step 4 is performance assessment and appraisal. In this step, it is to be decided that who will appraise. So the supervisors, peers and team members, subordinates, or a 360-degree feedback system should be used. Next step of this process is conducting the performance interview. In this step, explain the purpose of the interview. Self-appraisal should be discussed. Ratings should be shared with the employee, and the rationale behind those ratings should also be explained. Development plans should be discussed with the employee. Employee summary should be written down. There should be a section where rewards are discussed with the employee if it is found appropriate, and a follow-up meeting should also be set. Employee signatures should be taken on the documents. Supervisor should also give a recap of the whole process, and the appeals process should be explained to the employee. Performance renewal and recontracting is the last step of the process of performance management. In this step, some readjustments are made based on the insights from the completed process of performance management, and a plan for next performance management cycle is also set. There are certain problems which are associated with the appraisal and assessment process. It is tied to compensation. Employees lack motivation at times. Managers and employees may not agree on results. There may be management reluctance, and there may not be performance documentation. A poorly implemented performance management system may lead to false and misleading information, increased turnover, wasted time and money, damaged relationships, decreased motivation, job dissatisfaction, risk of litigation, and unfair standards. Performance management skills that are needed for the process of performance management are having good communication, coaching skills, skills to give feedback, empathy, teamwork, etc. So this was a brief about the process of performance management. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we will come up with more sessions in future. Thank you.